Good morning to you. Issues with my recording device this morning. Why? Why are you doing this? One moment. Hope you're well, wherever you are today. I hope things are going pretty fantastic for you. The sun is out where I am, which is great for once. And that's about the best I can say. It has been raining a lot lately in my neck of the woods, so it's good to see some sun for once. This is just not going to work. What a shame. What a shame. Well, I tried. As you can see, there's headphones. There's actually a new mic here. What I was attempting to do was upgrade the podcast quality. For some reason, I had to switch it on, which I hate doing. I absolutely hate listening to the sound of my own voice. So once I record stuff, I do it live, and that's pretty much it. It's in the books. It's why you don't see a lot of YouTube polished videos, because I have to sit there and edit them and go through them and constantly listen to my voice talk, and I just hate it. So if you're a video editor out there and you want to work for free, let me know. No, seriously though, I thought, why not try and improve the quality of the sound of this? So I went and bought a new mic. Anyway, it doesn't work. Can't get it to work yet. Because I am a Luddite, and a Luddite, but a Luddite mainly. One who does not gronk with the technology of today. Anyway, if you are listening to this, probably more so on YouTube right now, because I think you might be getting the audio experience. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear this, for starters. Let me know if it sounds crap. And so just write in and say, hey, your voice, it sounds like crap. Also, your face is ugly. And I'm guessing you probably smell just by the look of you. Let me know that. Anyway, on with the show. This is the SitRep. Peter Rouse says audio is good. Great. Excellent. Thank you, Peter. Welcome. This is the SitRep, the Situation Report, where I go through stories that I've found interesting in the past 24, 48 hours and have a look at it and think about that from the perspective of being better prepared individuals or families or communities, whatever you want to group yourself as. A lot of stuff today. There's a few things about that big N word, the nuclear bomb, being threatened, hung over our heads at the moment. A lot of stuff about Europe, actually, going on. And then even an Australian story. Those Australians, what are they up to? Let's start with dear old Vladimir Putin. I've said his full name now, so this entire stream will probably be cancelled. So what's this ass clown up to? Sorry, what's this guy up to? Let's try and just keep it an even playing field. No, I mean, if you're bandying around nuclear weapons, doesn't matter who you are. I think you're an ass clown. This is coming out of the Sun, out of the UK, Sun newspaper. So take that for what it is. Where possible, I try and tell you where the information is coming from. So the way I see it, you've got independent journalists who are out there and not necessarily getting paid, but wanting to put information out there just for the sake of information. You've got people who are maybe on one side or the other of a certain story and are putting out their own taint on it. Then you've got good quality journalists, of which there are lesser and lesser nowadays. But it is, they're still out there. They're still doing the good work. Then you've got propaganda. Then you've got mainstream media. And then of that mainstream media, you've got broadsheet, what would be broadsheet. And then right down here, you've got your tabloid newspapers, which the Sun sits in. So just so you know what I think of this kind of information, where I think this information is actually coming from, and how credible I think this information is or is not. Now you know what we're doing here. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel. No, normally I'd sort of leave this shit alone, but this has been bandied around, so I think it's probably worthwhile we go, hey, let's have a look at this and just try and see the credibility of this. Deranged Putin has already tried to detonate nuclear bomb, but was scuppered in the last minute sabotage, insiders claim. So basically, this story, and let me. Already, you can see in that title there where this particular news story sits. Very, very much in that Western propaganda side of things. Very much taken swallowed the Kool-Aid and is in the Russia bad camp. The desperate tyrant 70. What does it matter what his age is? I just like that in the first paragraph. Basically, it says the desperate tyrant 70. Just so you know, he's 70 years old. All right, so just remember that. Which is like how much younger than Biden? It's Biden like 80, 82 or something. Yeah. So this desperate tyrant who's 70 years old is feared by NATO to have his finger inching closer to the trigger, ready to launch another nuclear shoal force. Essentially, what this is about, the kind of background to this, Russia actually had plans to allegedly test some nukes, which, if you've been following this whole shenanigans story, this is part of the Cold War sort of stuff, the new Cold War sort of stuff, where people are going, we're going to do it. Oh, look, we're firing off missiles now. Oh, look, we're doing this. Mainly this has been focused around North Korea. So Russia probably knows that their stuff works. They don't really need to test anything. It would be more of a like FU to NATO and to the West if they were to do it. But it's just another step in the wrong direction, really, if they were to go do that. But anyway, they haven't done it, and so now there's all these stories coming out that, oh, look, Putin, all the people from the inside are overthrowing Putin. This just adds in to me when I'm looking at this, all the Western media, which, to be honest, in the last probably 4 or 5 days, I've seen a significant uptick in this kind of information. Putin has lost it. Putin is being overthrown by his own people. The people are rising up and rioting in Russia. Inflation is through the roof in Russia. The war is not going well for Russia, and Ukraine is on the verge of winning. We are almost there. Like, just one more push and Russia is gone and they will collapse. All this sort of stuff. And I'm not seeing any actual evidence of any of that. So I'm wondering at what point. This is all mainstream media that I've been quoting, by the way. These are where I'm getting this information. And I don't usually talk about mainstream media that much, because I just find them idiotic. And this is the reason why I want to point this out. Like, we've got to read this sort of stuff and go like where, can you just give me your sources here or anything? Like, and in insider claims, insider to who? Like, insider to the Kremlin? Do you have an insider to the Kremlin? You should probably like pass that on to your government or to the US government or something. It's just this sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe this is happening, but where's the evidence? What's going on here? And all it does is just like sprinkle a bit more fear onto your breakfast Wheaties now. On a what we were looking here 2 days ago. Was it? What's the 22nd of October? I didn't announce that at the start. I was so put out by this freaking microphone situation not working that I forgot to tell you that it's the 22nd of October. Not that I need to tell you because you're so switched on, you know what the date is. But yeah, just if you happen to be listening to this sometime in the future, I'm back here. I'm back here on Saturday, the 22nd of October. Or you could be listening right now from like the US, because I know there's people in the US who do enjoy listening to me every now and then. And you'll be going, holy shit, this guy's in the future. We need to listen to him. It's amazing. Peter Rouse says Biden is 80 in November, I believe. He doesn't look a day over 100. Doesn't act a day over 386. What day is it? Where am I? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. This adds into all the stuff that we've been seeing moving around in the Ukraine, i.e., A lot of talk about a lot of other nations saying, hey, our people, if you're there, please get out of Ukraine now, get out of Ukraine now. So this big call out for a lot of countries in the world. I think Iran overnight was the latest one, to say to their people in the Ukraine, time to skedaddle, friends. Let's call all the roosters and hens back to the roost, because something bad's going to happen there. We're also getting a lot of information coming out of Kherson. That's Kherson. Kherson, I've seen it pronounced, and Kherson by one person. So my pronunciation is almost definitely incorrect, but I call it Kherson phonetically. So anyway, if you haven't been following that story, what's going on there? There's been a lot of fighting there. It's a real key point. This is just past that border of Crimea, just north of Crimea. There's a key bridge there that flows up there. And so that's obviously been fought over. There's a number of other things that are going on there. They're banding around the nuke word here, especially Ukraine. They're saying, hey, Russia's going to nuke us. Oddly, Russia is saying, hey, Ukraine's going to nuke us. There's a very large hydroelectricity dam there that both sides have said they're attacking it, that it's going to blow up. So when both sides are saying that something's going to blow up, chances are something's going to blow up there. So keep your eye on that Kherson sort of thing, because this could be the sort of thing. We had Zelensky also come out overnight and say, hey, if this is attacked, this will be equivalent to a weapon of mass destruction, because of the flow of water will have a downstream effect on a lot of people, and obviously cutting a lot of electricity to a large swathe of the world. This will be equivalent to a weapon of mass destruction, a WMD, which obviously will encourage a lot of other countries to then scoot in and do their thing against Russia. So yeah, a lot of talk about this, and also a lot of counter talk from alternative sources talking about false flag this, false flag that. At this point, like, it's almost a moot point if it even is a false flag, because the outcome of it is essentially the next, not step, but leap into World War III. So keeping my eye on that sort of stuff that's going on there. Anyway, this is kind of background noise. The main reason I want to point out this sort of stuff was this story here is just like, be critical of the stuff that you're reading. Like, I'm not saying it is or is not true. I'm just saying be critical. Just have a think, or play devil's advocate, if you will. What else is happening in this area? Belarus. There's footage coming out of Belarus showing a lot of their riot control forces, so like police forces, things like that. Long lines of riot control vehicles pushing in and around Minsk in the capital, which is super interesting. Super interesting because there's absolutely no news or evidence that there is any riots there. So why are they doing it? Are they just practicing? Perhaps, but they seem to be practicing on a very large scale in the public eye. So again, that's interesting to me. I'm like, okay, either there's rioting going on there that we're not seeing, that they're somehow blocking from international media, or they are preparing for something. They're preparing to lock their people down, or they are doing it as a show of force. I lean towards the latter of those, that they're doing it as a show of force, and possibly to their own people, a show of force to their own people. Like, hey, this is what we can do. So if stuff starts to happen and you don't like it, don't come out in the streets, because this is what you're going to be met with. Which obviously then we can start to see, well, maybe Belarus is thinking about doing something. I don't know. UK politics. I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. Liz Truss resigned. The two front runners at the moment, none of it's good. Saw someone even throw the word out, civil war, UK civil war. Doubt it, but not good stuff going on. Really, I just want to touch on that as political turmoil. Let's file that one under political turmoil, more upheaval, more movement in that political space throughout Europe, throughout the world, really, but Europe in particular. Okay, let's get on to some solid stuff now and some things we can start to think about for ourselves in our own lives. Communications and internet. This is a pretty important thing for most of us. We like to communicate. We like to find information. You like to jump on the interwebs and listen to strange bearded Australians talk at you about some shit that they think's going on. So what would you do without that? In the past 48 hours, we have had undersea cables cut to Shetland, where all those little ponies come from. I'm just imagining like an island of tiny little ponies everywhere. It's beautiful. Anyway, undersea cable was cut in Shetland. Then overnight, another communications cable was cut to France. Critical infrastructure hits that we're seeing like this, they are on the increase. If you haven't been keeping abreast of these, there's been a lot of them lately. There's been a lot of this stuff, not necessarily communications, but yes, communications has been one. But we're seeing these infrastructures start to get hit. And this is pretty concerning to me as somebody who utilizes the internet a lot, and I like the internet, and like I watch, the television distraction media a lot as in TV shows, on my interweb connection. It's a bit of a concern, right? This is the sort of thing that we need to think about. But we can't even talk to each other. Most of us can't even talk to each other without the internet. And I've said this before, I don't think people fully understand how fragile the internet really is. It's not a magic thing. It's not just floating around in the air and you just plug into it. You catch a little bit of internet and put it into your house. It's cables. It still runs like information did, like voice data did in 1980. It runs through the telephone wires or through fiber optics in the ground, and through fiber optic cables that run along the ocean's floor. It runs on cables, and cables can be messed with. Cables can be cut, and that's what we're seeing. Imagine that on a larger scale. So anyway, just these. This wasn't like a full cut. It wasn't like France was totally cut off from the internet. It was just like some cables were cut. The impact was huge. The impact wasn't just to France and to Shetland or Scotland as well. What do we got here? Subsea internet cables in France and Scotland were damaged by cuts this week, leaving citizens without emergency services or contact, while also decreasing internet speeds worldwide. Yes, that's the big key point here. The ripple effect of our interconnected globalist world is that somebody sneezes and farts over in France, and we're going to catch a cold and smell shit here in Australia. Like, it affects everyone. Everything is connected, especially when we think about internet, because we have to reroute it through other areas, which clogs up that system. And that ripples out. We have worse internet in other places. So we really need to start thinking about this. Do you have a plan if communications are cut out? The big thing here was that, I want to repeat this part, leaving citizens without emergency services. Okay, so if you're one of those people who says, well, I've got some food built up and I feel pretty good about my life, and I don't really need to worry about self-defense or looking after myself because we've got heaps of police here in Australia and it's great. We've got an army somewhere that does stuff, I'm sure, out there. So I am outsourcing all of my physical security to someone else. What if you can't call them? What if you're having a heart attack? What if your child, God forbid, falls into a pool and you need to resuscitate them, and so you need to call an ambulance? Do you have all those skills? You should anyway. Like, these are things you want to think about getting, but also the connection to emergency services. Do you have a backup for that? Peter S says, get ham radio, marine radio, and sat phone. I agree. I think things like worthwhile looking into stuff like Starlink. I don't work for them. I'm not advertising for them. All right. I do have one. I do use it. I do think it's really cool, but I am one of those people who's a little bit of a like, cool, shiny new technology. But I just think it's good. Like I've had it work when the power is out. So I've hooked it up to my backup generator and had internet when no one else in my area has had internet because the power's out. And that's not like the internet is out. That's just you can't power your modem, right? So I could have plugged in my modem and potentially could have worked, but I was using an alternate source, satellite communications. I've also got things like Garmin InReach, so I can hook my phone up to that and still send emergency messages through satellite. And ham radio, I'm dragging my heels on this one. I get it. I will get there. All right. I do have a challenge. I did challenge someone on the internet as a race to see which one of us could get our ham radio. If you're watching, I'm failing. I need to get on top of that. Yeah, Peter Rouse says Starlink's a good backup, but have several points of access, and I couldn't agree with that more. Build local networks as well. Also look at things like mesh networks. So this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but you can start to create little mesh networks of various forms with people that you know, where you're actually creating a user-to-user network. And when you start to do that to several people, you create your own network to the key people that you want to communicate with. But me, I went down the UHF radio, so CB radio. I've got several forms of CB radio that I can use, and my people, my mutual assistance group, my crazy preppers, or just friends within my community, they also have UHF. So that's another backup that you can think about as well. So yeah, get yourself prepared. All right. UK military warns ex-pilots to stop training Chinese Air Force to battle the West. This one is interesting to me. Peter Rouse, you're going to take the challenge. Excellent. All right. I want to see who else takes this challenge. So it's me. It's Peter Rouse. I want to say it was Shelley from the States, the Canadian from the States. I'm pretty sure it was you. That is twigging my mind somewhere. If I'm incorrect, please let me know. But I'm dragging you into it now anyway. Who can get their ham radio license first? The gauntlets have been thrown down. All right, so I want to talk about this one because I find it interesting. Somebody actually asked me about this one. They're like, "Oh, what do you reckon about these UK pilots or ex-pilots that are over in China training Chinese pilots? Like, isn't that the most horrific thing ever?" And I said, yeah, it's bad, but this is not uncommon. This has been happening for years. And this is something that I myself have kind of narrowly avoided. These kind of jobs have come across my desk at times. And let me tell you, like, it's not an easy thing to just flick off. When somebody comes up to you and says, oh, hey, there's a job training in the UAE, or in some Middle Eastern country, or in some ex-Soviet bloc country, train their army as an Australian Special Forces soldier. We need you to go over there and train their military, even train their special forces. And you're like, no, I don't really want to do that. And then they're like, yeah, well, here's $350,000 a year. You do what you want with it. And then okay, all right. That's a lot of dollaroos. All right, that's something you seriously got to consider. I don't want to go live in those shitholes, so the answer's still no. Sorry. I like where I live. But this is what I'm talking about. You can look at this on the surface and go like, oh, how dare they? Traders. Well, yeah, I guess technically traders. But also entrepreneurs. Like, they're people making money. And if somebody throws more money at you, then you will attract more people. You will attract higher quality people potentially as well. So me, myself, I've only ever worked for journalist agencies, so news reporters, or Australian government. That's just where I happen to have drawn the line, I guess, or where the fates have pushed me to. But like I see why people go and do that. It is, however, I do agree that it is a problem. I am a little bit ideologically opposed to the idea. That's why I haven't really pursued it, whereas other people I know have and still do. There are Australians over there. There are people from all countries, all Western countries, all over the world right now, training people who are potentially going to be future enemies. That's the way this goes. Do I like it? No, I don't. But I can't stop it. So just interesting. When you see this sort of stuff, just have a think about that too. Go, okay, yeah. This is one that happened to pop out. Be aware, this is a pretty big problem right now. Our brain power is farmed out to the highest bidder. Yeah, that's an issue, right? If that's not freaking you out a little bit, then it probably should. Like, especially Australia, and especially, we're known in certain circles as having a pretty good special forces capability. It's generally what's asked for nowadays. And then the other part of this, I would say, is why? Why are they doing that? And I can tell you this anecdotally from my perspective. Once you're sort of out of that system, out of the military, they're kind of like, see you later. Like, I don't want to know you. I don't care who you are. What? You hurt, you're injured. Don't talk to us. Go talk to the Department of Veteran Affairs. It's got nothing to do with us. Bloody scab. See you later. So, there is no follow-up, bar your friends. That's the only real connection is our friends and our friends group. And they're the ones who sort of help keep us honest and help keep us in. But if you don't have that sort of connection, then the likelihood is you go over. And more than likely, even still then, when you go, oh, hey, I'm going over to country X to do this. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. What are you getting paid is usually the question. Oh, wow, that's a good wicket. Good on you. Well done. That Insta-chick, does it come the other way? Do they come train us? No, they don't. Otherwise, they would have a wider spectrum than us. They don't come train us. That's the thing. We do interoperability with a number of nations around the world, but on the whole, like it would be unfathomable for the Australian army, say, to go like, hey, we're going to go pay, I don't know, Chinese soldiers to come and train our guys. And there's a reason for this. And this talks to a broader issue that we have right now with what's going on and the rise of certain powers. This is this is an opinion piece. Let's cut to that. The ability to innovate, the ability to push, the ability to seek excellence, and the ability to spend a good chunk of money on things that are worthwhile and not just bulk. So the Australian military should be, I think, more technologically advanced than it is, but because we're a rich country per capita, we're a very rich country, so we should be able to put a lot of dollars into our personnel. We have historically kind of gone half-assed on it. Here's some things, we're going to put a lot of money, we've got to put a lot of training, we're going to put a lot of effort in here, and then we also need a little bit of bulk, so we'll just put a big bit of bulk here. And then we get things like the Afghanistan war, and the things that we put a lot of money into, that's what we generally sent over there. We're like, oh no, we'll send our best parts over there. Send our SF, we'll send our helicopter pilots and things like that over there. So you get this innovation that's actually happening. You get these people who are like focused on it, and maybe it even has something to do with cultural backgrounds that always seeking the next thing. The idea of progress within the Western societies, where what I'm seeing from a lot of these other nations is like, give me what you have. Teach us what all the dark magic. Teach us all the secrets. Okay. The one mitigating thing about this is that you actually need people who are willing to take it on and to be proponents and to drive that capability. And a lot of countries don't actually have that. They think that, oh yeah, we'll get the best of the best over, and we'll get them to teach us, and they teach us, and we go, we're the best of the best now. Well, you're not, unless you actually go and do it, unless you actually practice that. Being taught it is not enough. Going out there and actually utilizing those skills, that's what it's all about. That arrogance will be the downfall, if for nothing else than learning their secrets. Arrogance for what? Arrogance for whom? What arrogance? Please explain yourself, Lauren. Not sure what you mean. Okay. This was an interesting one that was sent to me by one of my sources who's over in this area. This is actually just a news story from Reuters. As Europe saves energy, some Romanians have little to unplug. This is really interesting. And I'm really glad they sent me this one. There's this kind of idea that, without the oil, without the electricity, there's going to just be mass chaos. Everyone's going to collapse. Everything's going to go to shit. There's this idea that I have that I can't quite explain. It's maybe the velocity of collapse might be the best way to describe it. So when we're watching a society collapse, when we're watching a decline of some sort within a society, within our society even, as we are probably witness to right now, there's a starting point and there's where they fall to. And the difference between that is the amount of pain and amount of chaos that's actually going to come out of it. So for a highly developed country, for the average Australian, where the average Australian lives in a city and is totally dependent on external mechanisms, on other things to come in, on people to ship them food, on people to deliver them food, on people to give them power. And all they have to do is go work as a mindless automaton in some factory or some office somewhere, get the money, they get the dollaroos and exchange that for the things that they need. For that average Australian who's so dependent on outside systems, if those outside systems are even curtailed slightly, there is a big drop in the quality of living because that person does not know how to support themselves. That's kind of what this channel is all about, is getting ourselves to that point where you know how to support yourself, how to be a responsible and self-reliant human being. So there's that kind of idea that Europe's very advanced, and so if they were to do without power, they'd all die. They'd all just die because it's freaking cold there, and they're just going to die en masse and then starve. But that's not actually true. And like I keep saying, that the mindset that I fall into quite often, and I think a lot of people fall into, is Europe is this just homogenized mass. It's not. The countries are vastly different within that. Romania, for example, or these countries that are on this eastern side that maybe even were part of the former Soviet Eastern Bloc, have only more recently been coming into the affluence that we think of when we think of Europe. So they've been doing it harder for a lot longer. They can still remember that. Maybe the grandmas, the nonnas and such what out there are still remembering how they grew up, still remembering how they were burning wood in order to heat themselves and to cook their food. So that velocity of collapse might not be from up here. It might just be from here. They've come from here, they've gone to here, and they're like, oh, okay, we're coming back. So they still know how to do it. They still have the ability. They still have maybe even the mechanisms, maybe even the stuff that they needed. They didn't throw out all their old shit and went, we don't need this anymore. Just gas heaters, electric heaters, electric ovens. We'll just go full, like, give me the Dyson. I'm buying in 100%. Maybe it's not like that. Slightly lower socioeconomic places deal with collapses potentially better. And that's potentially what we're going to see there in Romania. I will say this, though, that they're, again, even within a country, it's not homogenized. So maybe some of the outlying areas of Romania might be better, and the urban areas could be worse. All right, let's just catch up on some chats here. Peter Rouse, I have to fly to Dunedin to take the test. The ham radio. Yes, the Australian one is run through a mob down in Tasmania. Just barely even Australia. No, it is. It's definitely part of Australia. That's down in what? Dunedin's down south too. What's that? What's that about? Why do they do it so far south? I don't think I have to fly there, though. I'm pretty sure I can take a internet-based test. Chinese just set up police stations in other countries. Yes, I've had a chat about that. Canada had Chinese military go to Canada for training. Yep. This is a pretty common thing. Like in Australia, we host many nations coming to our country to help train them. Most of them we have some sort of working agreement with, and we send our forces out as well. It's quite often for us to have soldiers all over the world learning stuff. There is a cross-loading of information when it comes to the military. What we're talking about here is people now outside of the military getting paid to go and train other forces. So the restrictor is off there. So if a Chinese military came to Australia to train, there would be an agreement and there would be hard boundaries where they're like, okay, we can talk about this and this, but not this. This doesn't get talked about. And if they were starting to ferret around and try and find out that information, then we'd be like, hey, yo, pump your brakes. But somebody who's not in that, under those rules anymore, a private citizen can talk about whatever they want. That's a little bit of a problem. All right, what else is going on? EU may block crypto mining to tame soaring energy prices. The latest thing in energy prices within Europe, again, like the interconnected nature of all the shit that's coming down at the moment. It's not just one thing and then one thing and then one thing. It's the food and the gas and the electricity and the fertilizer, and all these things are actually interconnected. One affects the other, and it's all pulling itself down. So as the inflation skyrockets, which I think we're in double figures now, or 9.9%. Righto. For the Eurozone, 10%, 10% for Eurozone inflation. Companies are going to look at this. Can we afford to run what we're doing? Can we afford the electricity to do this? Can we afford the energy? No. Well, why don't we just go to those green means? Oh, reality. It doesn't work. Okay. Well, I guess I just won't make fertilizer. How does that sound? Done. What does that affect? Oh, okay, we can't grow as much food. Oh, it means there's less food. Oh, it means A, people starve, and B, inflation. Okay, inflation goes up. That's bad. Everything costs more for more people. People are going to start charging more. That probably drives up energy costs again, which means it's less likely that I'm going to turn my factory back on, which means less likely we're going to get more fertilizer out there. That's one example there. But here's another example, and that's why I highlighted this. Crypto mining. Crypto mining is historically energy, what would you call it? Hungry? That we burn a huge amount of energy. I say we, I don't fucking crypto mine. I'm not here mining crypto right now. At least not to my knowledge. Maybe some hackers have got into my computer and they're doing it in the background, but consciously I'm not doing it. Kind of maybe would if I could figure that shit out, but I'm too dumb to. So crypto mining costs a lot of energy to do. And Europe is saying, hey, we might have to actually like pump the brakes on crypto mining. I think this is an interesting one because I'm really interested to see where this goes. We had aluminium factories, smelters shut down. We had other iron ore factories shut down. We had fertilizer factories shut down. We've had food production facilities shut down because of energy. And really, no one said fucking boo about it. No one from the government was up in arms about it. No one was like, we can't have this happen. The effect that this would have would be catastrophic. We cannot let this happen. I'm interested to see what happens here because this isn't those things which have downstream effects. This hits someone in the hip pocket. So I'm interested to see what the blowback is from this. If there's more blowback from this than from the food production facilities, than from the aluminium smelters, then we know where we are. Well, it should highlight to us where we are as a society. One that cares about crypto mining more than it cares about food. And at that point, I'm just like, I'm out. Goodbye. I'm not like that, but we all should be like that to some extent. I think we should all be thinking of Where is my out right now? I was teaching a course, an online course yesterday, and I was talking about basic security principles. Basic security principles. And a few of them, something like this. Always have a plan to exit, always have a plan to stay. That's something in the security world we're always trying to do. We go, okay, I'm going to a facility, I'm taking a client somewhere. How do we get out of here in an emergency? How do we get to the vehicles quickly and evacuate this immediate area? What if I can't do that, though? What if the danger is actually out there? How do I lock myself down in here? So thinking about that on a wider sense, how do I continue as somebody who's preparedness minded? How do I continue to operate in the system as it's going at the moment, and the trajectory that it's going in the moment? Because the ship could right. For those who are listening to this, you wouldn't have seen my face then. I don't believe that it could, but it could. All right, things could turn around on a dime, and I don't know, the fucking green dream works. We find a reservoir of unicorns in some hidden valley, and their farts power everything. So Skittles start raining from above. Everything could work out. So I'm not geared towards, building a bunker and living out in the fucking wilderness with my beans and my bullets and my band-aids. I'm geared towards living in society. I'm also geared towards living out in a bunker in the wilderness with my beans, bullets, and band-aids. Yes, both. Have a plan to stay, have a plan to go. And this is what we really need to start doing, I think. Looking at shit like this come down the pipeline, going like, where are we as a society? Like, what's going on here? You know what? I can rally against it. I can go out into the streets and say, no more war, no more oil, more green stuff. You're killing the environment, blah, blah, blah. Facebook, tell me, what are we fighting about today? What flag should I put up? What colors am I painting? What's the hashtag today? Yeah, that's what I'm fighting about. I can go out there and do that, or I can just go like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to take care of my community. And we can start to pull back from our dependence on this system and just go like, cool, you guys have fun with that. If it works out, all the best. Good for you. If it doesn't work out, have fun burning to death in your fucking dumpster fire. I'm out. I'll be over here. Hopefully I'll have my shit sorted enough that I can actually help you out. But if not, you're not my priority, because you're worried about crypto more than you're worried about food. So sort your priorities out. And barbells, says Peter Rouse. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Barbells. Beans, bullets, band-aids, and barbells. Sounds like a title for a podcast, doesn't it? Welcome to Beans, Bullets, Band-Aids, and Barbells with Gads. Might switch off the SitRep and go to that. Eco-activists vandalise iconic London store. The Just Stop Oil crew is at it again. By the way, the Just Stop Oil crew who threw a can of soup on a piece of art and then glued themselves to the wall. That was Van Gogh's Sunflowers painting. Don't know how much it's worth. A lot. Money. People were willing to pay money for that shit. But I like art. I like soup as well. So it's a bit of much of a muchness for me. Soup, art soup. It's getting all Andy Warhol up in here now. So they've done another attack. They've thrown orange paint all over the front windows of department store Harrods. Right. Vincent van Gogh and Harrods, two infamous oil proponents, people who are in the oil industry and utilize way too much oil and are killing the earth. Wait, hang on. No, they're not. Vincent van Gogh actually had nothing to do with oil. Harrods is a department store. Why are they fucking attacking these places? Could they do something maybe useful or more useful with their time, I wonder? Again, just off the back of my rant then, we can like throw our arms in the air and scream and shout at each other and throw soup around. The soup was also orange. Ooh. Maybe they're secretly Trump supporters. And they're saying, bring back the orange. We can do this sort of stuff, definitely. It got a bit of attention. I don't think it stopped a single drop of oil moving in this world. So, yeah. Maybe we could put our energy somewhere else. Maybe instead of buying a can of soup to throw on a valuable piece of art, which brings joy to people. I certainly love art. I love looking at art. I love taking it in. I love thinking about what that artist was trying to get across. Instead of trying to shit on that, why don't we try and be part of the solution? Why don't we make our lives better? Why don't we look at the constituent products of that can of soup, not the MSG or the 301 or the 216, but the carrots and the potatoes and the celery, and think, could I grow these? Could I put more of this into the world instead of wasting it right now when it's needed? That's a thought. That's a thought for you today. It's become a bit ranty today, isn't it? Like when they poured the milk out in the supermarket. Good God, this one almost sent me out to fight the masses. I don't mind a drop of milk. I like milk. I like cows. I like goat milk too, even. I just like milk. I like cheese. I like all dairy products. I think they're great. So apparently with some kids too, it was like a bit of a kid thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I read. That they were going into supermarkets, opening up the milk, pouring it on the ground. Yeah, and it just means the shop will have to order more milk, correct? Like, we are getting dumber as a society. I say we, I'm going to assume that, I'll hope that you and I can fight against it. But when I look around at this kind of stuff, I go, yeah, the IQ is clearly going down. How do you think that this equates to that? If you don't like the dairy industry, don't buy shit from the dairy industry. Go buy milk alternatives if you think that's better. P.S. It's not. But if that's, just drink water, right? But the fact is, you're closing the gate after the horse has bolted. Tipping out the milk doesn't stop milk being produced. It actually increases milk being produced because we need more milk. It's like common sense. It's so logical. How could you not see that? They already drink too much soy, says Peter Rouse. Peter Rouse also says, how about protesting these companies that are caught up illegally dumping waste chemicals? And above that has said, with their oil-based hair dyes, talking about those protesters who had bright orange and pink hair, which I'm sure were naturally sourced colors from, they crushed some dandelions and some, I don't know what else you'd find that's bright orange and pink in nature, but no, they're obviously using fake fucking hair dyes. They're fake people doing fake stuff. I think this is probably the key point. I'm going to wrap it up here, but I've been ranting for 48 minutes now. Here's one of the key points for this. Inherently, we know something's wrong. All of us, human beings, know that something's not quite right, and we haven't been doing good enough for a while now. People are going to react differently to that feeling. Me, I like to look at it. I like to critically look at what I've done in the past and what I'm doing now and go, is this, or has this been the right thing to do? Could I have done better? Could I be doing better now? I feel I'm in a good position. Should I rest on my laurels? No. Let's look around this position. Could it be better? Again, this is one of the things that I teach on the courses. Always seek a position of advantage. What could be better here? And I think we need to think about that in our lives. Like, what could we be doing better? And instead of then pointing fingers and going like, it's the oil companies and it's this and it's this, like, bring it in, bring it right in. I am the oil company. I am that evil billionaire. I am the polluter, the waster. Feel that and then go, all right, now I'll do better. Now I'll do better. Now I'll try and eat something that's not destroying the earth. Now I'll try and wear clothes that aren't destroying the earth, or whatever it is. I don't need to fucking rant about it. I don't need to go out, get up on my high horse. If you need to tell people about it, if you need to go and tell people, well, my clothes are eco fucking made from the good, hardworking people of this country, and we make sure that they're blah, 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 whatever the fuck it is. My food's from here. I do so much better than you. If you're having to do that, you're not doing it from a good place. You're obviously covering something within you that you feel is lacking. Virtue signaling. Don't do it. Don't do virtue signaling, kids. I just stocked up on another 200 liters of automotive oil. Excellent. I'm assuming for like the running, as in engine oil, Peter Rouse, that what you're talking about. These are the sort of things that we need to start thinking about and stocking up. This stuff's getting cheaper, by the way. If you need to stock up on stuff, now's a good time. I mean, it's expensive already. All right, I said there was a story on Australia, and I'm going to do this just to finish off. I want to put this out as a warning for the issues of convenience in the form of digitizing all our information. So we give our information up. If you're not onto this yet, you should understand that what's happening at the moment, we are shifting very quickly towards a centralized digital currency that is controlled by our government or Federal Reserve, Reserve Bank Australia, government ties, but that entity, the state/deep state, depending on how tightly your tinfoil hat is on this morning. That's what we're heading to, which means they can look at everything you do, absolutely everything you buy, all your choices in life. They can track you. They can look at, are you happy with that? That's what I want to know. Are you happy with that actually happening? Well, it's the government. We trust the government, right? They can do it, right? They're allowed to do it because we trust them. Just like we trust a telecommunications company like Optus, because they would never fuck with our info. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Optus just lost all our information. All those, I feel so sorry for anyone who uses Optus, because this could have easily happened to Telstra or to, company X, whatever other company there is. Could have easily happened to them as well. And all your information is now out there. All the shit that you've been up to. Ooh. Now it's a private company that could do it. Well, it's happened again. Medibank private insurance. I don't like private insurance, for starters. B, I don't like that our government pretty much forces us to pay for something in private insurance, which is tantamount to them saying, I don't think you're smart enough to look after yourself, you dipshit. You're going to get hurt, so start paying for private insurance now. I don't think you're going to be able to look after yourself. You're not going to be able to make the savvy decisions financially to look after yourself when you're 65 years old. So start paying superannuation now. I hate that. All right. I hate both of those things. I think it's an insult to an adult human being. It's an absolute insult. Or at least these things I think should be means tested. As in, prove to me, show me what your financial history is. Show me your ability to save for things. Show me how you're investing now. And if you get an A, don't pay any superannuation. If you get a B, pay a little bit of superannuation. If you get a C, pay superannuation. And if you get a D or an E, you have to pay 15 to 20% superannuation. And that way, we get the dullards of our society doing what they should be doing, paying more. And people who are doing good, guess what? They get rewarded. Well, they get rewarded as in they don't get punished, which is shitty, but that's, within the system we have at the moment, that's what we got. Anyway, same here with Medibank Private, with private insurance on a whole. I'm like, hey, I put money away for if I need a surgery or if anyone from my family needs a surgery. I put money away. I do that. Okay? I make sure that I make choices, informed choices about my health. I don't just walk about the world and eat whatever the fuck I want and do whatever the fuck I want. I work my body out. I test it. I actually track it and see what's actually happening within my body. Every now and then, too, I go to a doctor and have them spew shit at me and go, okay, I'll take that, but all that sort of shit. So I get checkups, right? I do the things preemptively to look after my body, whereas being forced to pay for health insurance is doing something reactively. Yeah, I don't know how. Why would I look after myself? Medibank Private will look after it. Anyway, one thing they won't look after is my private information. 4 million customers of Australia's biggest health insurer, Medibank Private, could be affected by the breach, which revealed 200 gig of sensitive data and medical diagnoses, and comes after 10 million customers of telecom operator number 2, Optus, had details stolen last month. We put this information out willingly, and we've been doing it under this unspoken social contract of trust for a while now, and we have to stop. We have to stop. We cannot keep giving our information to these ass clowns, to anyone really. Or at least, here's the way I think about it. Same with theft, right? I carry the things on me that I'm willing to have stolen off me. I leave things around in certain places that I'm willing to have stolen. Not happily, but I go, okay, well, when I pack a bag and I put that suitcase in and I see it go on the thing and I get on the plane, I look at that bag and I go, have I got like $10,000 worth of silver in there? No, because it'd be too heavy. Or gold, right? I don't have that in there because there's a chance that I will never see that suitcase again. So think about that with your information. Every time you put information, every time you sign up that and you go, I'll put this email in there, go, do I want these people having access to my email? Do I want them selling it or losing it? More likely. Everything will be hacked. It's the only way to bring in the biometric data and one step closer to total control. Yep. That's what they're after, total control. All right, that's it for today. That's the good news for today, everyone. I hope you're all well. As I said, I know it was from an angry perspective, but really what I'm trying to do is encourage everyone to get out there, do stuff, start taking control of your life, start building up the resources that you need in your life. Have a plan to get out, have a plan to stay. If that front door gets locked down again for 3 weeks, do you have enough stuff in your house to survive? Can you take care of yourself from a first aid standpoint and your family? Can you take care of yourself from a security standpoint and your family? Think about that. Think about that today. Meditate on this. All right, my friends, thank you very much, as always, for joining me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. Peter S. says, also set up your own encrypted email server. Yes. Good ideas. Very good ideas. But separate emails. Have several emails. Do that now. Very easy things we can do to keep ourselves safer on the internet. If you would like me to talk more about that, send me a message. Say, hey, can you talk more about that? I'm not the world's expert on it, but I know a thing or two. I know some shit. All right. I hope you're all very, very well today. I hope you're going to do something productive with your time today, whatever it may be. Remember to stay safe out there. I'm going to work on this microphone here, even though none of you can see it, that I'm pointing at right now. And hopefully it'll be up and working, so you'll get even smoother dulcet tones on the podcast. But until then, you have to listen to my shitty voice. Stay safe out there, gang. Be well. Keep prepping. Semper Paratus.